Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Venatus session.
Awesome.
I am Kiera Maguire, a sales director at Venatus, as my intro
Yeah.
said. And they do say save the best till last, but you are only 20 minutes away from having your favourite beverage at the bar. So hopefully I can keep you engaged for another 24 minutes for the final session. For those who are new to Venatus, we are a global ad tech platform that specialises in gaming, connecting brands and advertisers to a large engaged audience. We proudly represent some of the biggest gaming publishers, including premium titles such as EA Games, Rovio, to name a few, alongside activations within Roblox and Minecraft. Our award-winning campaign solutions bring an engaged audience via a range of formats from in, around, and away from the game. So that's why we are here today, to give you a fantastic example of a brand that has made the most of all gaming has to offer, a unique look into how the Rail Delivery Group, RDG, alongside Spark Foundry, worked with Venatus to transform a conventional product into a gaming campaign with real impact. So now let's get on to the main event. I would like to invite Michael Clingham from Spark and Ben Davies from RDG to join me on the stage and talk you through the core components of this campaign success.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kiera. Brilliant. Thank you, Kiera. So yeah, I think this campaign, I might be biased, really does showcase the full potential of everything that gaming has to offer. I think from day one when we received the brief, it was really, really crucial for us to understand all of Railcard's business challenges, but also to make sure that when we were activating within the gaming space, that we did it in an authentic manner that resonated with our gaming audience.
And at RDG, we kind of had two main barriers that were kind of noticeably impactful on our sales. The first being the increase to cost of living crisis. We found that this led to a decrease of discretionary spend, which also then in turn led to less people traveling for leisure purposes. And the second being the strikes, which obviously I feel like has impacted most people in this room. That also had a negative impact, not only for positive perception, but also around our campaign activity, because we had to pause around those strikes to make sure we weren't going live during strike periods. So it really did have a big impact, and both of those things are very prevalent during the time of the campaign. And our marketing was also affected as well. So we had a lot of pressure from other retailers, a few examples on the screen, who were really trying to target and kind of hit that younger audience with some offer campaigns. And the reason this kind of was a bit of an issue, I guess, because that strong affinity with the younger audience really impacted that 16 to 25 Railcard product. And this is important in two ways. So the first being that we weren't able to capture that first-party data, which is obviously crucial for us to be able to talk to our audience in different ways once we've kind of acquired them. And then secondly as well, we're really keen at RDG to get the customers on board, as pun intended, sorry, you'll get a few of those, to get them on board as young as possible, to kind of get them in that life cycle. So the aim is obviously to get them at 16 to 25 age bracket, move them up to 26 to 30, family and friends following that if applicable, and then all the way to senior. So we're really keen to kind of get them as soon as possible to kind of get them through that life cycle. So we really needed a way to counteract this effect and improve our perception among the 16 to 25 audience.
We knew we had to get it right. So we leaned on our proprietary kind of Publicis tools called Publicis Match. So what this does, further than kind of traditional audience tools where you might be able to look at reach, index, what channel's best for your audience, we can actually plug in the entire campaign parameters, so your KPI, your objective, where you want to go in terms of your awareness and consideration targets. And in this case, with the campaign objective being fame, you can quite clearly see here that gaming comes out pretty much on top. But we knew that we needed to get it right. So we lent on kind of the experts at Venatus to help us kind of provide us with a real clear strategy for activating for this audience and do the right thing.
And that is where Venatus came in and came up with the idea of RDG taking over game-to-game travel within Roblox. Why Roblox? Well, aside from a huge user base, the key factor here was to target a 16 to 25 audience. And in Roblox, players often travel between games, exiting the lobby before re-entering their next gaming destination. Our proposal creatively solved this by allowing seamless travel throughout the gameplay. So that was the first part of the proposal, finding the right gaming channel within Roblox. The next part was incredibly important to convey the brand's message in an effective but fun way. So we proposed building a game-to-game portal themed around the 16 to 25 railcard, where players could interact with a train conductor NPC to learn about the benefits of having a railcard. Then the last key element of the proposal was to make sure there was an authentic value exchange for the players when they were interacting within the experience. Now onto the fun part of the campaign success, the producing the experience and creative development. So during the creative development, we designed a staging environment, and after some back and forth, decided that we would go with a futuristic rail station portal concept that blended the traditional train station design into a gaming environment. We also made sure that the core messaging around 16 to 25 railcards was tied into the train conductor NPC dialogue. In this video, you can see the final testing. And yes, that is my NPC on the screen with the butterfly wings. The design integrates seamlessly into Roblox, reflecting the brand and brand messaging, just like you'd see in real life and across other media channels. And then here you can see how the design slotted straight into the gaming environment and enticed players to come and interact. So the fun part was the creative process, but a personal favourite of mine was the little piece of added value players got, adding that value exchange and ensuring there was a continued branding element throughout. When players interacted with the train conductor NPC and used the train to travel, they were rewarded with a free limited edition cosmetic item, the train conductor hat. And as someone who loves accessories both outside and inside games, this is why that was a personal favourite. But the train conductor hat not only enhanced more engagement, but it also empowers that community bonding within Roblox and brings something for everyone to talk about. Cosmetic items are huge within Roblox, becoming collectibles, not just for the train enthusiasts.
And we saw some brilliant results, right? So over nearly 3 million station entries. That's just people interacting with the train. Over 500,000 kind of journeys as well, and also cosmetic gifts given away. And we saw a 10% increase in railcard sales.
Yeah, and that's really impactful for us at RDG. So it was great for us, obviously with the stakeholders. That was a very good stat to go back to after as well.
And always nice to pick up a few media awards as well. If anyone was at Media Week Awards last week, we got our third one. So yeah, really great results and some earned coverage as well with all the big kind of trade press articles.
And that rounds this section up. So thank you to Ben and Michael for letting us showcase this fantastic campaign on the stage. It really does demonstrate that gaming isn't just for the brands you'd expect. It is for everyone. That leads me now onto the panel section, where I would like to invite Victoria Tibber-Ryan from Publicis to join myself, Ben and Michael on the stage. A little intro for you, Vix. So I know you have spent 10 years on ad sales side, then you've moved over to agency side to help brands create really engaging, bespoke campaigns. I know that you were heading up the division on the partnership side at Initiative previously for the Lego Group, helping win within adults and kids. September marked the move from Initiative to Publicis, as along with Vix and her team. So the reason we wanted to bring another voice in for the panel was also to kind of have that female voice on side of things when we are working in these bigger Roblox activations, as you do have experience with. So the question or the statement that we came up with was basically saying brands don't have to be in entertainment to be entertaining, and kind of talking on that. So RDG and Spark showed that to be successful in gaming, the subject matter doesn't need to be endemic to entertaining. Michael, I'll come with you first. I know that you haven't just worked on RDG, you have worked on other brands, Meta, Taco Bell. The first question is, what was the key benefit for Railcard when coming into the gaming media? And is it the same for all non-endemic brands?
Yeah, I think with this campaign in particular, we were aiming to target 18 to 25-year-olds who are traditionally probably little bit more harder to reach, elusive, like TV viewers, for example. And we knew that all of our audience data suggested that this was the right platform to do it in an authentic way that rewarded gamers and in a way that no other kind of channel can do that. I think gaming offers, real great creative freedom in terms of there's so many ways to do it, whether you're in-game, around game, away from the game, sponsorships, everything, you name it. We can do so much more than kind of your traditional kind of media channels, and I believe it should be on every kind of plan going forward, really.
That's great to hear. Music to my ears. Vix, you know better than most that brands need to show some bravery, as Railcard did. Once they do so, gaming can be a key channel for them. Is there any cautiousness or hesitation still around brands for gaming?
Yeah, I think we've all seen brands do it really, really well. We've also seen brands do it kind of badly. I think there's a really important point here, which is you have to think like a native and not a tourist. I think Lisa from GiftGaff made that point earlier as well, which is that actually you need to think about the experience that you're building for the user that you're asking for their attention, right? So this is where it's incredibly important to think about the value exchange, to think about the type of gameplay. Does it actually fit with your brand? And then also just to think about, and obviously, especially with the Lego Group, we think about these kind of universes, these metaverses, these gaming platforms. They are the playground of old. So you need to think about user behavior on that platform, be prepared for it. If there are brand safety concerns, get ahead of it. And also make sure that you are being true to the kind of platform that is on that behavior. So sorry, slightly long answer.
No, you talk away. I love it. Over to you, Ben. So it makes me question. So what made you feel confident enough then to say yes to Gaming Channel in the first place?
So RDG, it's quite a complex stakeholder environment. So there's a lot of kind of approvals you have to get from different kind of areas of the business and externally as well. So it was really key that Spark provided us, which they did, a really kind of robust plan and recommendation, which included all the rationale along with audience studies, and the audience kind of segments that we got from that were really key to help us kind of persuade, I guess, the industry for us to kind of go ahead with this. Because obviously Rail Delivery Group, kind of the brand name National Rail, but then we also have all the different train companies that we work with as well. So we kind of use them as a bit of a sounding board to see if this activity is something we want to go ahead with. So there's a lot of kind of people you have to get on board. So just ensuring that we were kind of armed, I guess, with all the stats that we needed from that proposal was really key. And also, we do every year do a student campaign in which this product is promoted, and we do the usual suspects, digital, social, out of home, and student halls, etc. But we really wanted to stand out of the crowd, and we showed some of the kind of retailers campaigns as well. And it was the first, I guess, in the industry to really do a bit of a gaming activation in this way. So that's kind of what persuaded us to say yes.
Love that. And so what was the reaction then before the campaign and then afterwards the results were shown?
Yeah, before there was a bit of nervousness, I guess, because it kind of was the first of its kind in the industry. A lot of people kind of questioning, what is this going to bring? How is this going to increase sales? So there was that part that was a bit kind of nerve-wracking, I guess, but it's more kind of being able to take the risk and persuading them and showing the different stakeholders or the stats you're kind of armed with, like I said. And then post campaign, obviously, we saw one of the main stats I think the stakeholders were really interested in was the increase in sales. So this was key. And to be honest, ever since then, I've had to present this about 3 or 4 times at all staff events and different train companies as well. So it's kind of a never-ending beast, which is good. It shows that there's a lot of interest in it in the industry, and it's stuff that we're taking forward as well with other campaigns.
Yeah, we're talking about it a whole year later on this stage, so it just goes to show that it has had impact. And then Vix, I've got a question about broader trends that you might see within the gaming sphere coming up. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, brand safety is always going to be a concern, and I'm sure we've all kind of seen the various news articles that have been coming out. I personally think that there needs to be a trend where platforms take more responsibility for what they're putting out into the world and what they're allowing to be put out into the world through their platforms. That is a big one. I think another thing that we're actually starting to move into is a better form of measurement in gaming environments, because at the moment, click-through rates, video completion rates, that doesn't accurately reflect the engagement that happens in those platforms. So I think there is a desire to kind of move to a type of measurement, a form of measurement that kind of identifies active attention, active engagement.
Agreed. And Michael, how can agencies and media owners support brands looking at getting involved in gaming?
Yeah, I guess that's why we're here today, right? It's collaboration. I think a lot of the agency groups have kind of designated gaming teams. At Publicis, we've got Publicis Play. So I'd encourage media owners to, get involved, send out regular newsletters, just make sure that, we as an agency are always kind of kept up to date with the latest innovation, because that's essentially what the clients want to see, and we want to be pushing forward with new business and everything. So.
Yeah, I think that face-to-face is really important if someone's got something new to bring to the table, or like you said, Vix, if there are new measurements or anything you want to check in with, it's always good to chat to the teams, have that face-to-face, and even things like this at events, like showing off in a presentation what things look like. It's all well and good saying, gaming, but I've heard a few people say, like today, where do we start? And it is that finding out where it is, what resonates with your audience, and capturing them there. Great. So we're on to the final question, which I'm going to go down the line. So what advice would you give to another brand looking to use gaming media for the first time?
Okay. It's a tough one. I would say definitely get stuck in, for starters, but don't try to do everything all at once. Building a world from scratch takes a huge amount of effort. We've had kind of successful partnerships with Super Awesome and Venatus in Roblox, but they are much bigger in terms of the lift than actually just creating mini games. So be prepared. I think actually things like the NPC, and I particularly love the example of the kind of interaction with the conductor there. Things like NPCs emulate natural behavior in these platforms. So think about those kind of behaviors that you can harness, and kind of obviously be guided by the experts. So people like Venatus who know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think my recommendation would be to take the risk and get involved, because we see at Publicis a lot of clients repeat spending. You can obviously see the numbers don't lie. Like, we are delivering huge results for brands in an incremental way that's outside of maybe more traditional channels. So just take the risk, and it will pay off.
Yeah, and just feel like I keep saying stakeholders, but with stakeholders, I think if you have that kind of pressure, I guess, within your industry, I think just keep pushing, keep arming yourself with those stats, those figures, because they do speak for themselves. Case studies were really helpful as well for me as well when I was trying to sell this into the business. And yeah, it went to show that it was worth the risk. So yeah.
Amazing. Thanks, guys. Well, you heard it here first. This is what the panel had to say today. So thank you to the panel for being involved in today and allowing us to run through that amazing case study. Thank you to the audience for listening to this kind of backstage, behind the scenes showcase on what we do at Venatus with our brands and clients. And then thank you to the IB for hosting yet again another great event this year. So thanks, guys.
You're being held up as, this is an amazing thing to do. What's sort of next for your foray into gaming?
I think there's a lot of planning that takes place with different campaigns, and I think we're going to take those learnings and really apply them to future campaigns. There's nothing fully in the pipeline yet, but I know coming up there will be. And I think we learned as well, it takes a lot of time, especially with these kind of interactive formats. So just really carving out the time. I think next year we'll see some more activities like that.
Very, very good indeed. And I loved your point, Vic, about it just feels like, given we've heard so much about attention today, it does feel like the thing we should all be gravitating towards. What's getting in the way of us as an industry doing that?
A point was made earlier today, actually, and I think it's really valid, which was we often think of marketeers and not human beings. We don't necessarily kind of, think about how we interact with stuff. I think we need to bring this back and refine the humanity. And gamers are not this closeted kind of 13-year-old boy audience in a back room somewhere, right? We're all gamers to a certain extent. So there needs to be kind of a refresh in our kind of thought process towards it.
Yeah, and your bit around stakeholders, I know you said you felt like you were saying too much, but I think we heard earlier about talking in the CFO's language. I think we forget that bit as well, is we like to make things quite complicated, and ultimately need to make it make sense to the people who've got the money. What an amazing way to finish. Thank you so much. Big hand for Venatus, everyone. Thank you.